Hi everyone, my name is Ava McFarlane. I'm a digital marketing consultant from Dynamico, and today I'm joining forces with Kitty Hart, our VP of Client Engagement, to talk about websites that are equipped to pull their weight and enable a seamless sales process for you and your team. Before we dive into it, please know that if you have any questions at all throughout this presentation, be sure to leave your comments in the chat off to the side. After about 30 to 40 minutes of presentation, you'll get the chance to assess your own website in real time and get actionable takeaways that you can implement on your site today. Taking the interactive website assessment will also allow you to share your email with us so that we can send you our own digital brochure and key takeaways from this presentation. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Dynamico, we partner with small to mid-sized businesses as their growth strategy consultants, and we're located right here in Minneapolis. We're a team of subject matter experts in digital marketing, strategy, automation, and offer HubSpot CRM implementation, sales enablement, and consumer engagement strategies. We also build websites that work. And I don't mean websites that just fully load onto your screen and don't have broken code. Our websites help our clients aggregate accurate and usable consumer data, provide a streamlined user experience, get their pages on the front page of Google in a matter of months, and generate inbound, ready-to-convert leads. And of course, they look beautiful. But let's face it, a beautiful website that's not set up to empower your prospects in their consideration stage to choose you in their decision stage is just not going to cut it. Digital is one of the largest, most rapidly changing channels that people are interacting with. Our world's evolving digitally, and it's evolving fast. And when I say evolving fast, I mean that by 2027, the industry of digital transformation is projected to reach $12.7 million. Trillion. Oh, excuse me, trillion. $12.7 trillion. Let that sink in. What could that mean for you all as entrepreneurs fighting to grow your businesses, or future entrepreneurs still nurturing your big idea? What is your startup going to invest in to not just keep pace with your competitors, but reach your mutual audiences first? That number means you need tangible tools and tactics that'll help you better connect with people digitally. 10 years ago, a beautiful website could have been enough. It showed your business was cutting edge. But our world has evolved so much in the past handful of years, and that evolution isn't stopping anytime soon. If you don't align your digital tools, including your website, your business won't be able to compete. Playing defense or taking a reactive approach when it's too late isn't going to give you an offensive advantage or offensive results. All of this is to say that entrepreneurs, we're going to have to communicate with people differently moving forward. And in this climate, that process begins with your website. No matter the stage your startup is in currently, Kitty has the keys to the castle on how to make your website your right hand in sales enablement. Kitty, do you mind getting us started?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ava, for that great introduction. And my thanks to you all as well for joining us today. We are really proud to participate in Twin Cities Startup Week, and we do so because we know that we have something of significant value to share with you as you grow your businesses and as you launch new businesses. At the core of what we do, we help companies and brands grow. And we do that through the guidance when using technology. Today, we're going to talk about your website as a communications tool and as a revenue generating asset. Success today will come from employing a system that is designed and developed to engage people, to facilitate relationship building, and to delight people enough that they want to become a customer. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A quick overview of what we'll step through. We'll talk a little bit about the challenges that you are likely experiencing as well as the opportunities that are right in front of you. Current behaviors, we'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing there. Things that you can do right now with either a new site or optimizing the site that you have. And we will, of course, arm you with some resources and tools that will be helpful, including an assessment tool for your current site. As we launch into this discussion, I do feel that it's important to remind ourselves of how far we've come. Ava alluded to that. And I do this not to fill time. This isn't fluff within this presentation. I share this with you because acknowledging the adoption of technology in our society really drives home the fact that this strategy that we're sharing today is an approach that is not a nice to have. It is a must have for companies to grow. So let's all put ourselves back a few years. Let's go to 1994 to be exact.
Back now at 56 past, I wasn't prepared to translate that as I was doing that little tease.
Oh, that's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never heard it.
Around
I'd never heard it said. I'd always
That's
seen the
right.
mark, but never heard
Yeah.
it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
I heard something
around
big
or
fight
about.
up in the lunchroom the other
See,
week.
there it is. Violence at NBC. GE.com. I mean,
Well, Allison should know.
what
do you
is
say to that,
internet
Allison?
anyway?
Internet is that
Massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Okay, I just think that that is such a great clip from our past. Yes, that was 1994, and we were right on the cusp of major change in the future toward digital transformation. Okay, we'll take a look at this. According to Business Insider, this was the first web page that went live on August 6th, 1991. So this was even a few years before that clip that we just watched. There were no images. There were no graphics, just words and links that were announcing to the world that the new World Wide Web, or W3, had been born. And boy, did we have a wild ride in front of us when you think about how quickly technology has evolved over just 29 years. We now walk around with computers in our pockets. As we focus this conversation on ways to use our website as a revenue generating asset and how this asset will help us grow our businesses, let's ground ourselves also in where we are today in relation to the evolution of our economies. And I start here because I think that this also drives home the importance of using today's technology as a primary driving force in our business success and our economy in general. So initially, on the far left here, you see initially we were hunters and gatherers, and it was necessary for us, for survival, to coexist with nature. We became an agrarian economy when our survival relied on the cultivation of crops and the rearing of livestock. So the crops and livestock were the currency that allowed people to not just survive, but to thrive. Then, with the entrance of the steam engine in the early 1900s, our economy moved into the age of manufacturing, or the industrial age. The 21st century brought the information age with the internet and our access to data. This was also the beginning of the service economy, when retail really boomed. And then 9/11 happened and cut the retail and the service industries to their core. And we very quickly moved into what many people today call the experience economy, which is highly dependent on social connections and relationships. Connection through experiences. This is the economy in which people expect to have an engaging and a meaningful experience with a company or a brand that they interact with. The businesses and the brands that create exceptional experiences are the ones that have survived the past few recessions. And they're the ones who continue to thrive during even the most impactful economic challenges. So how does the topic of website design and development fit into what I just shared? Today's technology has the power to bring brands and people together in a meaningful way online. Early websites were basic, that is for sure. This is Apple's website from 2001. Early sites were mostly focused on a small amount of basic details that a person would need when they landed on the site. But soon, brand owners and business leaders realized that the website offered a significant branding opportunity. So aesthetic design improved. We started seeing beautifully designed sites. But what many companies don't know or haven't utilized is the fact that the website has significantly more value than that, than just extracting information or just creating a brand impression. In fact, leaning on the technology that we have at our fingertips today allows us to truly sell the way that people today want to buy. So let's talk a little bit about how people are behaving today. What are we seeing out there? We've sourced some information on this topic from HubSpot, which is a partner of ours. They have researched and are able to monitor more than 70,000 businesses that they have on their platform. And they can confirm that people are interacting with businesses more online than ever. But we do know that even with all of that activity going on, deals are still down, and sales forecasts have not yet seen the positive impact of all of that activity online. It's likely because companies are not leveraging all of this online activity. With the volatility that is happening around us right now, this is the best time to pay attention to how people are interacting with your site. There's a wealth of information there to help you understand what people are looking for, what problems are they trying to solve. And that should ultimately help you be more active in the conversation and ultimately bring in more business. Here's the thing. All of that activity is really great, but if you have a basic website with no connection to your sales and marketing effort, the danger is that people aren't actually contacting you until they're ready to buy. All of their influence is online. They're reading blogs, they're reading reviews, they're scouring your site, but you aren't stepping in with any influence until a visitor actually picks up the phone and calls you or emails you. This means that you're running the risk of losing an interested prospect. As Ava said earlier, this is the key to the castle. The strategy that we're sharing with you today puts the customer at the center of the relationship for a combined sales and marketing system. This is a system that we're talking about. This allows your site to be your very best salesperson, your very best marketer, and it's working for you around the clock, 365 days a year. The website is an important asset that needs to be leveraged and can be leveraged right now. Let's talk about challenges and opportunities. So take a look at these typical challenges. These are things that we hear every day from people that are looking to dig into this conversation or clients who are coming to us and engaging in the conversation. As you peruse these, do you find yourself nodding your head? Or worse yet, are you feeling deflated by these challenges because you've been saying these things for too long? It is absolutely true. People today have very short attention spans, and they don't have the patience to search through multiple pages to find your site. You need to show up on the first page. And then once people find your site, does the messaging resonate? Can people find what they're looking for without getting frustrated? Is your site nothing more than just a static brochure? Or maybe it is beautiful. that's great, but the site may still be falling short in facilitating a sales conversation or converting those visitors into customers. We talk to a lot of people who are frustrated with their ability to or inability to manage their site in the context of sales and marketing. The tools aren't integrated. If you want to generate sales, you want to offer a seamless buyer journey, and you want to make sure that you can track a person's behavior and follow them along. This way you can nurture them along the way. When you have integrated tools, you can see when they download certain content, if you have content for them to download. That's a trigger for you to hop in and initiate a conversation and provide value to the customer. Finally, and this is also a big one, the site should be easy to update without a developer. If you can't update your own site easily, you have a high maintenance site. And in the year of 2020, it really is a standard expectation to be able to do your own maintenance on your site and updates. Thinking about a new or an improved site might feel quite overwhelming. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot that I just threw at you. But we encourage you to look at it as an opportunity to turn an underperforming business tool into a revenue generating asset. And yes, all of these components that you see here are attainable. You can have better search rankings. You absolutely can provide a clearer path to purchase. You absolutely can convert opportunities. The functionality can absolutely promote live customer-initiated conversations. All of these things are within your reach. You can fuel your pipeline. And this is one thing that a lot of people don't think about. Updating your website or creating a new website is a great opportunity to re-engage with your existing customers. This will be meaningful to them as well. So think about what that can do for your existing business as well. Now, at this point, your head is probably spinning as you think about your own site. Does all of this mean that I need a brand new site? Or can I work with the site that I have? Both very good questions, and we can help you think through that. So there are many variables to consider. These are some. Yep, budget is right there at the top. The current climate absolutely lends itself toward restrictive budgets. You might bring this topic up with your team or back at your office, and the first response from somebody is going to be, great, how much is that going to cost? We're on a spending freeze. So budget is absolutely a factor. What are your long-term and short-term goals? If you are experiencing high bounce rates, low conversion, if your current CMS is too difficult to update, it probably is smart to look at a whole new website. But these are just some things to think about. And again, as I mentioned earlier, are you able to do your own updates? That is certainly something that should be considered at this point as well. And again, if the answer is no, you should be looking at a new tool, at a new website. Even if you're just considering optimizing your current site, this fast to market process that we're going to step through next will be relevant and will still be beneficial because we suggest the same process for both new and optimized sites. And if you're worried about budget, and who isn't, the question might be, is it possible to create a new site on a lower budget? With this process, yes, you can, and here's why. Traditional web development is broken. Companies have been creating websites in a process that is really quite outdated. It tends to take too long. There are too many people involved, requires way too many resources, and that has traditionally made it expensive. So this is what that old process looks like. And I ask you, does this possibly match a past experience that you've had? I remember these days, for sure. It could take up to 3 months to work through strategy, another 9 months on design and development, so a year before you launch. And then this kind of process tends to push sites into the 50 to 100K price range. If it's a complex e-commerce site, it might even be more than that. And then once the site launches, because so much time and so much money has been put into that process, I've actually heard leaders say, okay, good, now we don't have to touch that again for a few years. And the site sits there and rusts and decays, just like a house or a car that isn't maintained, that isn't cared for. Think about all of the things that change during that time that the website is just sitting there being stagnant, not only from the buyer's perspective, but also from within your company. So some good news for you. It is possible to do away with that old process, shake that all up, and move quickly with a GDD methodology. You might have heard GDD in the past. It means growth-driven design methodology. And this was brought forth by Luke Summerfield in the HubSpot community. So here's what this looks like. In the strategy phase, you go into this phase with an empathetic understanding of your audience. What challenges are they looking to solve? What are they coming to your site to learn or to do? And you want to make sure that you think about how you can help them along the way through that journey. And then quickly go into build and launch. And quickly is the operative word here. We actually suggest that you launch with a site that looks and performs better than the one that you have today, but it doesn't have to be your final product. In fact, you move into the optimization phase specifically so that you can watch what's going on with the site once you've launched it, and you can continue to monitor and make improvements. Once the site is live, you're collecting user data so that you can see what's working and you can modify and continue to make it better. So this is the growth-driven design methodology. Here's how the components shake down. It's important to start with your goals and not just, don't think about the website in a silo by itself. You want to start by looking at what are our goals for our business in general, and then how does that equate to the website, and how do we need to bring those two things together to support each other? What sort of user experience research have you already collected? Even if it's just Google Analytics, there's information there that's valuable. Define your buyer personas. We assume that you've probably already done that, but this is a good time again to take a look at that. Define the buyer personas and the journey map. Now, as you're thinking about how your buyers complete their path to purchase, don't get hung up on every single buyer or every single journey before you launch. That really is not necessary. And that's part of what makes this process move along a little bit quicker. Focus on the best persona to target that will have the largest impact right away. Consider SEO research. But here's another tip. If you are answering the questions that people are typically typing into Google regarding your products and services and how they search for and how they buy your products and services, you will rank for those keywords. But you do want to consider SEO research. Look for conversion opportunities throughout the site. Where can you place those? How can you create those? Again, so that you're helping your visitor along their journey. So think about that as you craft your site map, and then think about what's missing. Create a wish list. Think about all of those things in the past where you've thought, God, I really wish our website did this or had this. This is a great time to make that list. You're not going to necessarily implement them all, but it's a place for you to collect those so that you can plan for the future. All right, so let's build and launch. An important takeaway here is that this process stresses launching with an MVP site, a minimum viable product. This is a site that is developed quickly and placed in the market with the intention of learning as people are using it and then revising the site as you learn from the online activity. Launch fast with something better than you have now. It's important to choose the right CMS, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But selecting a platform that allows you to work from flexible themes and structures so you don't need a lot of development. It's important to develop key milestones. Work in sprints. That's one of the ways that it helps you kind of expedite the process. It's very focused working in sprints. Set guidelines for your content development. This will allow more people to be able to contribute to content. Establish a clear review process. Use a pre-launch checklist, and this way you make sure to cover all of your technical components before you launch. And then as you move into optimization, there are 4 components to this: plan, build, learn, transfer, in that order. And then you just continue to start over again. So a little bit more detail about those 4 components. In the planning phase, start with focusing on what will provide the most impact action items. What is the current business focus? What's going on in the business as a whole that needs to be considered as you move into the website project? Are you launching something new? Is there big news that needs to be talked about? Are there new pieces of information that should be shared to your audiences? Look at, again, the user experience research that you might have access to. Brainstorm that action item list. Prioritize the wish list, and then pull the top action items and start building those out into 1 or 2 week sprints. And be sure to think about those action items in relation to the broader company goals. Identifying what will fit into the next sprint that will have a positive effect on your monthly and quarterly objectives. And of course, don't forget to determine how to measure success. In the build stage, again, work in sprints with a cross-functional team. Here at Dynamico, we work in pods, and each pod is made up of a strategist, a digital consultant, and a designer. Then set timelines, hold each other accountable, and really stick to that fast-to-market mindset as you set up experiments so that you can explore different ways of doing things. It's okay to fail during optimization. That's what experiments are for, and it's a critical part of the creative process and the development process. And then learn. Bring the team together to review what's going on. What are the results? What are you learning as people are interacting with the site? And then document, document, document so that nothing is forgotten. Because the last component is to transfer. Transfer the knowledge. Be sure to exchange ideas throughout the company to improve the entire system, not just one piece of the puzzle. You can get input from sales, from service. Something that you've done here with this tool could be applied somewhere else. Share what you're learning, continue to build new action items, and continue to work toward continuously larger goals. This is an iterative process, and it should all build upon itself. And then move on to the next primary focus. So I'm going to ask you all to answer this question just as you're sitting there, as you're watching this from wherever you are. Go ahead and answer this out loud. How long do you think this should take? The process that I've just stepped through, the GDD methodology, what do you think? How long do you think it should take? Well, we can absolutely do this type of site launch in as quick as 4 weeks. And here's how that shakes down. Start quickly with goals and strategy. Pull your team in for a full day brainstorm session. Focus on the most important persona, the most important journey that you want to take that person on. And then start moving on to design and messaging as you're nearing completion of that phase. You don't need to wait for one stage to completely finish before you start the next. Edit, test an automation, launch, gather data, see how people are using it, and then start over again. Earlier, I said that we would talk a little bit more about selecting the right content management system. So let's do that right now. This is a big topic, and we want to make sure that we cover this because we do have a lot of people in our network ask us about how do you choose what's right for you. Now, we happen to be experts in HubSpot, which we feel is one of the best solutions out there. But this advice goes for any CMS that you might be considering. If you do have questions on that, please reach out to us. We can help you think through and look through the options that are available to you. But this technology and functionality is critically important. And this is really at the core of why we're having this conversation today, about that it is not enough to just have a beautifully designed site. Your CMS should be integrated with your CRM, allowing for high impact sales and marketing automation. And then as you're collecting data, departments throughout the company can have visibility to that data that's being gathered, resulting in informed decisions around customer experience. That is one of the biggest, most positive outcomes that results. It's that data technology component that is vastly important. The automation functionality helps to automate repetitive tasks as much as possible. The right platform allows you to be scalable. It enables your sales team, it enables your marketing team, and your service teams to be more effective. And then finally, if your CMS is not easy to update, as I've touched on a few times, if it's not effectively triggering automation, that will frustrate your sales and marketing teams or anyone responsible for updating your site more than anything else. I want to share with you an example. So here's a site that we launched in 4 weeks. Our client is Sunspace Twin Cities. This is a business-to-consumer brand that serves Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. They are a luxury porch window dealer. They came to us with a poorly designed site that really didn't have much functionality at all. And they said to us, we want this site to provide more value to us. So as we went into the process with them, we uncovered these main goals. We knew that we needed to improve the user experience. We knew that we needed to create conversion opportunities. A challenge that we faced was that he had 2 very different buyer personas. He had the homeowner who would be doing a do-it-yourself project, and he had the contractor who would be handling new build construction. So part of the solution here was segmenting the content on this site by those 2 very different types of builds, new versus remodel. And it was also very important that we made it easy for visitors to the site to request a quote. So now again, going back to those 2 very different personas, those 2 different personas would require very different request forms, just based on difference in expertise. So we launched this in 4 weeks, and the results, as you can see here, Sunspace Twin Cities increased business by 40%. Their 40% increase in revenue in the first year. It was exactly what the website was designed to do. here's a little bit more information. And looking at, in monitoring their data, the site launched in May of 2018, but we didn't stop there. Per the process that we just went through, the methodology, we then continued to optimize over time. So the columns in orange are the website sessions, and the conversion rates are noted on the blue line. So you can see post-launch a beautiful increase in conversion rates. Then over time, we focused on increasing traffic in general. And so you can see those sessions also continued to increase. Something else to note here, the foundational work that we did on the conversion rates is holding steady with those increases in traffic. So not only are we bringing more people to the site, but those conversion rates are staying high, resulting in increased business for Sunspace Twin Cities. Year-over-year results. I'm going to show you April, and I'm also going to show you current in August. But I want to show you April because at that point, we were in the center of the stay-at-home order. And look at the numbers. His traffic went up, his contacts went up, and all of this resulted in new deals up by 487%. Yes, these are massive numbers. But this is exactly what the site was designed to do. He struck while the iron was hot. With everyone being on the stay-at-home order in April, and even with all of the volatility over the past few months, people have been nesting. People have been working at home and working on their homes. So the right focus, the right functionality, and the right experience built into this site set him up for success as people were visiting his site and looking for information and for his services. How is it still performing today? These are August numbers. Now, the showroom is back open. So and that's a significant factor, but traffic is still up. New contacts, way up, and his deals are still up. Again, what we're measuring here is just deals that come from people landing on the website, engaging, filling out a form, asking for information, asking for a quote, and then they close the new deal. So optimization has allowed us to keep the site functioning as a revenue generating asset. That's what we're talking about here. That's why it's not enough to just have a beautiful website. Some key takeaways. We're pretty passionate about this topic, so would love to have a conversation with you in more detail about it as you have questions. We are deep in the experience economy, and success today comes still from high impact relationship development. People expect a one-on-one relationship with the brands that they plan to give their money to. Using technology to create better engagement, it will help you grow your business. Think about the website that you have today. Is it providing value for you? Is it doing more than just sitting there as a place for people to land? If it is, then it is a wasted asset. There is more that it can be doing for you. It's possible to create positive change very quickly and with a mindful budget. Stay active, be flexible, tune into all of this heightened traffic and online activity right now, and really kind of push out the negative narrative out there around nobody's doing anything. People are very active online, and your business can absolutely benefit from that. Plan, build, learn, transfer, that's the name of the game, as well as the GDD. We have these resources and tools available for you. As you think about this content that we've just shared, and as you go back to your team, go back to your offices, and engage this conversation with others there. As you look to optimize, these are some high impact action items that can help you facilitate those internal conversations. Everyone wants to increase traffic. Everyone wants to increase search rankings, lower the bounce rate, create high conversion rates, all of these things. Well, start to form your internal discussions around these items and see what rises to the top as you start to move toward looking at a new site or optimizing the one that you have. So one last question. Did you create a crisis response page when COVID hit? And again, a rhetorical question. Was it easy or was it hard? If it was hard, or if you had to connect with a developer to do that, again, you're working with a high maintenance site, which is not ideal for your internal team. And you should be able to move faster than having to use a second party to create those changes. So this should be a good list for you as you think about potential action items. A couple of other resources here. If you would like to know more information about the HubSpot CMS, there's a link here for you, and also a little bit more about the growth-driven design. So good information for you to take a read there. And finally, this is the website assessment tool that we promised to provide. Ava is going to drop this link into the chat. This will take you less than 10 minutes to complete. So it's something that we suggest you go ahead and do it right now, as all of this is fresh in your mind. We're going to ask some simple questions about the site that you have right now, and it will provide back to you a very actionable list of recommendations and how you can improve your website's performance and boost the bottom line, because that's what this is all about. So please take a few minutes to do that. You'll get tremendous value out of that. And of course, you can reach out to us with any questions that you might have, and I'll leave it right here for Ava. I'll just first of all say thank you all for joining in today. We have a couple of other team members that are presenting content this afternoon. So please tune in and have a great week at Twin Cities Startup Week. Ava?
Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as Kitty said, please connect with us. Send us an email with your questions. We love talking about this. And we're here to help, so let us know. Talk soon, everyone.